when you are like working with people, whether it be like writers or singers, like do you have a hand in the writing process? Are they looking to you to start the idea with production? Are you looking at a song and trying to imagine how it would work from that?
I'll give you a good example. Specifically for a dance record, you want to find the right like zone where the lyrics aren't cheesy. You know, like the lyrics aren't about dancing or about being in a club. You want to find something that means something. A lot of people think dance records are just mindless, but I think you can make great dance records like Prince or The Clash or Rick James. You can find awesome lyrics and make them dance records. So I'm like the guy who's like at the edge of making sure it's cool, not too cheesy, but relatable. That's like my job. I'm helping finding word, coming up with concepts mostly. It depends on what sings well.
I've always found that like lyrics have been the hardest part, and that melodies are sort of the thing that comes naturally. Once I get going, it's easier, but you seem to have an ease of just knowing like where the concept should go or what something's trying to be.
It's more recent to really lock in on a concept, because sometimes you don't even get the concept. You get like lyrics, you get like that's a chorus, but I don't think it's big enough. And sometimes that doesn't come easier. 10 years ago when I was making stuff with M.I.A. or rap records, I was cutting out words that I liked and made those the choruses. I would like cut out parts of verses and make them choruses that didn't make sense, but hooks can just be funny one-liners. They can be this. Every song can be different. Sometimes it can be a clever record, like I did M.I.A. Paper Planes, and the song is literally like all I want to do is in gunshots and take your money, and that was like,
which by the way is the first song that I ever heard from you, and I was like 9 and I had no idea who made it or anything. I just remember being in the car where we used to live, just my dad would constantly be playing it, and it was always different from everything else. And also, by the way, when I finally circled back years later and realized, oh, it was you made Diplo made this, I listened to, I think I heard an acapella of the song on YouTube, and the chorus audio sample is the weirdest thing I've ever heard for a hook, and had no idea it was there until I heard it isolated.
Yeah, it was, we threw that together. That record just happened in 1.5 hour. Like, it was kind of a joke.
Really?
And then I went back in the studio with her when there were these kids outside, and I was like, let's track them, because I kind of love this idea of, it was a Pink Floyd record. Like, we don't need no education. Those kids are all singing the chorus. And these little kids were outside the studio, and I just had them, I tracked them with my iPhone, and then put them in
like
the song.
Ambience, or were they saying something?
They were doing it was like the kids singing it, because we had sung already. I tracked them with my iPhone and layered it on top of her. If you're going to record like with your iPhone or like a mic outside, like you're going to have a lot of sound. It was very punk rock in a way that she didn't give a shit about the audio quality, and like, me and Switch, the guy who mixed it, we always fixed it we tried our best, but it was about the ambiance. It was always about the attitude of the records. And I think we got nominated for Record of the Year that year, and we got so much hate from the Grammy audience, like, why would they pick this fucking song? Like, this song, it sounds so bad. Like, we're like, and the guy who handed the Grammys was like, look, this isn't your typical record. It's what right now sounds like. It's kind of anarchist, it's punk, and you have to respect that they had a huge record on their own terms, and that's what kind of the message we lost to. I think we lost to the guy from Led Zeppelin, actually.
Well, I'd imagine Paper Planes was very hard to beat.
But Record of the Year is different. It was versus the biggest pop songs of the year. So it was in the end, this grew a lot over time. Sometimes you don't get a hit off the back. Like, that wasn't a hit. It was a year later. I'm
gonna be paraphrasing here, but John Mayer said something once that always has sort of stuck with me as I go through consuming music, which is, whenever you hear someone's record, play it again, because he had recounted a story of taking Continuum, which to him and to the majority of his fans is this incredible, timeless piece of work, and he played it they had a studio, and they said, I don't hear a hit. And he's like, how can you not see how special this is? And so I think when it comes to something like Paper Planes, it might have been so innovative that it took a long time for people's ear to sort of recalibrate and get used to it.
I also think we were in a different world where the pop acts had all the bandwidth back then, and so it's people just gave all those records a head start. And most times they deserved them because they were really well done records. But then, like I said, the labels and the TV and the radio have so much power, but the last 10 years, that power transitioned a lot back into the hands of young people. Radio doesn't matter as much. Kids are watching YouTube because they used to have only access to what was on the radio, and kids are on TikTok and they're just listening to 15 seconds of a song they like, because that's kind of what, a young person's instantly can identify with, something that's quick. So the power has shifted a lot between the industry having it and then streaming being very democratic.
Perhaps as time goes on and more types of music get brought up because the accessibility is just there now, it might be easier for maybe my generation to consume like a new type of music and not have so much of an adjustment period of going like, what is this? Do I even like this? Do I understand this sort of thing?
Like brand building took so long, you know. Let me give you an example of before my time, because I kind of started in the middle of the whole streaming generation. I kind of took advantage of it. In the 80s or the 70s, a band would have to find, you have to find a guy with a guitar, drum, find some friends that play instruments, get together for about 6 months, play around with each other, like make music, finally have a song, find someone in the music industry, I don't know who it is, they come back to you, say, okay, we're gonna pay for your studio. Then you go to the studio with the producer. This process is already like 3 years into it, you starting music.
Wow.
Then you get a record deal, then slowly you have to release it after like 6-7 months of a record deal. Then you make a video, then you maybe go to radio, do a promo tour. This is like from inception of your idea, it takes like 4 years. Now, you or me, like literally tomorrow I can have a #1 record like Lil Nas X. Like that's an insane adjustment that we had. This is the new way to listen to music.